Thank you for having me today at home. And yes, I'm happy to share with you my professional journey and also academic experience. Now, I started my academic journey after a brief professional career on the ship as a marine engineer. I also work in the port with mask line, also related to maritime activities. And later I went to pursue a marine technology career. And marine technology is like it's very interesting course at that time. It's a mix of all field of maritime with 60% naval architecture, and the rest 40% are maritime transportation, marine science, science of the waves, and ship construction, and also maritime economics. So that's why it's called marine technology. It's a very interesting course. I went for master's degree on that, and when I finished that, I was then hired by Malaysia Maritime Academy to teach as an expert rate lecturer. And after that, when I was teaching, and then I enrolled to do my PhD in marine technology with mechanical engineering, but with more focus on marine risk. So I become a marine risk expert. I work on how to de-risk marine system before they are built, when they are built, when they have to be operated, and at the end of their life, because the reason was working on land and working at sea is totally different. And from time, only the nuclear industry, the airline industry, they normally work on risk across all the system chain or system process to at least remove all the risk or reduce it or control what they cannot remove. And later, the International Maritime Organization get aggressive about this as well. And the former safety assessment method for system across maritime processes are introduced, and this is what I work on. And also they also encourage the industry to use goal-based approach that focus on objective to achieve a sustainable end for process and also for product related to marine industry. Why? Because the maritime industry is overkill with rules. Why? Because of safety. For many years, there are always like accidents, and they have imposed a lot of rules in a very reactive way. And they now thought that, okay, it's time to start using proactive approach to implement or to implement safety So that was why they become aggressive about using risk, and this is what I work on. And after I graduated with PhD in marine risk safety and environmental risk and reliability modeling of marine systems, I had to implement or use the model I developed in different maritime areas. This include port, it include renewable energy related to infrastructure close to water resources, it include risk related to operations of marine infrastructure close to the coast or offshore or in deep water. And during this period, then I was later employing the university. I started teaching in the university and conducting research related to first energy and environment because of my background. Then later I have to switch to working on developing new technology to explore the ocean, because the resources of the ocean need to be explored. And I started exploring this, and this happened because of the need. It was a need-based situations with local people who are struggling to float devices to cultivate the ocean. And later, during the course of academic period, I did a lot of work on de-risking work, and most of what I did, I published them in close to 280 peer-reviewed journals and 12 books. And that is good, because in academic we have a slogan that it's either we publish or perish. And it's good, and I encourage African to Nigerian to cultivate this approach of publishing their work, because this is a legacy they can leave for other people to also benefit from what they are working on, and to bring awareness, and also to always give them backing when times come to talk about what they have also spent their time with. Yes, writing a book is very challenging. Generally, writing is challenging because most of the time we have the impression that what we teach and what we write is an indication, a measure that we know what we're doing. And this is also a good advice for everybody to try to write something. And writing has been a culture even from the age when we don't have papers and all of that. Now, the first book was very challenging. My first book was on sustainable maintenance of navigation channel. I basically wrote about how to maintain the passage where ships are passing, and how to make them sustainable, not just dredging, but also to take the marine life into consideration, the ecological life, because these are natural systems that allow us to live. And the book also emphasized on the risk aspect. for people working in this area to properly take holistic risk work that cover everything that surrounds this kind of operations. And for example, most of the time when we try to do this kind of work, the water is struggling. We'll be struggling to go somewhere else, and also the marine animals and all of this. So my book focused on this, and then my book focused on also calculations about how wide how to measure the width of the channel, and also the ship to match it with the ship that can enter the channel. And beside that, later I published another very interesting book on applied safety and environmental risk, and applied safety and environmental risk model for marine systems. And this book is very interesting. It's about 500 pages, and it covers everything we are talking about today about blue economy. At that time, the topic in 2013, when I published this book, the topic was not like this, but I put loads of my experience, my observation from risk related to inland waterways, risk related to dredging, to aquaculture, to deep sea water, to operations of liquefied natural gas ships, risk related to human, because there are always human error also in marine operations, and how to tackle them, and also the use of simulation for marine training. So these are the two very challenging books. And on top of that, I also published other books like Marine Technology and Sustainable Development. It really cover more elements of blue economy as well. It introduced other area like the use of ocean energy, and this was there are also contributions from other authors in this book. The blue economy word was first coined by Gunter Pauli. He's a Belgian. In 2014, and that was during COP number 3 in Japan, and that was when it was first coined. And the blue economy, that in the COP number 3 they were talking about Kyoto Protocol and issues about refrigeration pollution, ozone layers, and all of that. That was when it was first coined. But later along the road, more and more people started accepting the importance of water, because in daily talk, except in Africa, because in Africa we know water is what water means, and in daily life, normal human being forgets how valuable water is. And for many years, governments and also institutions, society never look much about the value of salt water. We always think it's salty and useless, but when you look at the ratio of the seawater in our planet to the ratio of land and even fresh water, is very high. And it is in this salt water that a lot of life are thriving. They are living, and most of this salt water, maybe 95% of it has not been explored. So beside that, it is also the ocean, this big ocean with the salt water, that most of our waste from land are empty into, and it cure it every day. And so because of all of this, they led to the concept of blue economy, and in most developed institutions, they don't call it blue economy, but a lot of research are done in different directions. And today, I think all these elements and components are being put together now by most governments as blue economy, and I am very happy. Nigerian government come up with a idea of blue economy and maritime. Joining them together is even much more brilliant. And then some other countries like Kenya, for example, and like Tunisia, etc. They are also, because most countries that have water now, they are looking into this. And coincidentally, I'm also doing a project for German government. It's not called blue economy, but it's a component of blue economy. It involves, for example, assessing the risk of introducing new technology into the ocean to cultivate life. And the second component involves assessment of co-production, when we co-cultivate, for example, marine life, for example, fish, seaweed, and wind farm or wave energy. Okay, how do you do this? How do we plan the ocean to accommodate this? And these are not something we can just do like that. It has to be well planned, even especially in European water, for example. There are more congestion possibility, and also in some area it's impossible to implement this because of maybe the past and because of data. So the third aspect is stakeholder engagement and processes, how to engage the stakeholder and how to engage them for acceptability, because eventually, so these three things are also component of blue economy. So now blue economy has evolved. So every country are looking into this now, and they are building strategy to implement this now. And the implementation is going to be different for different countries. It's going to be site-based, it's going to be data-driven, but it is a very, very brilliant approach of integrating systems. Because when you integrate systems, they become more efficient, they also become more cost-effective, and they also provide the opportunity for data sharing for communication, for things to work together. Just the same thing like different trees, they make magic in the forest. So this is what would be the magic of blue economy, and I think I am glad it evolved, and eventually most of the work I did are just around this, from sailing on the ship to working as a marine technologist to working on developing new technology to farm the ocean, and to involving industries. I involve industry in some project I did related to this, like Technip, like Bureau Veritas, for example, and this is also very key to implementation of blue economy, and also I introduced project-based learning, which is going to be key to the way to bring in the workforce to drive the blue economy. Okay. Yeah, it's very interesting and move for Nigeria to come up with a system to combine maritime activities with blue economy, and again, blue economy involve the sustainable use of the ocean resources, the big ocean, and the sustainable use of water resources in a way that it benefits or it produces economic benefit, and it also produces ecological benefits. Like we cannot say that we want to develop and also forget about the ecology. They have made, in some countries, they made mistake about this. For example, they cut trees, and 10 years later, they are looking for birds, and then they started fixing it. So the blue economy is around this too. Like, if there is something need to be restored, okay, that site need to adopt a model, a different model. So different site, the starting point will be site-based, different maritime sites, starting with the component of blue economy, for example, maritime existing systems like ships and port. This has been what water has been mostly used for, and but there are other activities, water, marine, natural resources can be used for example, the waves, the energy is, even the wind that resort to wave energy. They are forces that we can tap to generate, for example, energy to power our system, and also to distribute them for other places on land. And then the food sustainability, like land use, for example, by producing more protein from the oceans, we can spare more land, because land is very scarce. It's only 30% of the ocean, and we should not be using land to cultivate fish, for example. We should use land to, the ocean to cultivate fish, and then seaweed is another area that many people don't know much about, related to the blue economy under aquaculture. They are more or less called the hidden champion of the ocean in Europe because they can be used to produce food material, food supplement, pharmaceutical, and a lot of other things we use land for. And the starting point now for your question for blue economy will be site-based, will be also use-based, use case-based, and from the use case, like I mentioned earlier, we have to talk about what are the technology and the infrastructure needed for this site. Now, if we deploy this technology and infrastructure, what are the impacts? And here, then we need a stakeholder to involve. Who are the stakeholders to discuss how much interest they have, and to rank the power of their interest and all of this, and to make sure they have what they need to support the blue economy, because this, especially the stakeholder part, is very important, and involving the community in blue economy is also very important because eventually they will be the one to provide a protection that is needed. Why did I say this? Because working on land is totally different from working in the sea. So the starting point will be site dependent. For example, site and infrastructure dependent. If a site already has a terminal that can be used for one of the activities of blue economy, and then this site will require less attention related to infrastructure. And now, the other things is, if a site, we also need to look at what are the history of this site, for example. That is where data will be needed about what kind of wave or wind they have, the water quality of this site, and the biodiversity of marine life, and we need to look at the nature of the seabed, and all of these need to be incorporated into the technology deployment. Now, from my experience, most of the time, the engineer and biologists can hardly work together. Most of the time, there is always a very big friction. But I am one of the persons that break a barrier between engineering and biology. And even we did a project on why the skill set between engineering, biology, and industrial governance are not working, which was sponsored by the British Council. And so that would be the starting point, to look at the site, to look at what they need, and to look at activities that can be done for the site. And now to also look at how the activities will also benefit people that are not close to water resources. For example, what I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of industry very close to most of the river, but there are also lots of industry on land. And most of the time, especially in this age of adaptation, whereby we are trying to adapt to climate change, and also we are trying to review past design, because most design of the system did not incorporate climate within the process and biodiversity. And this, for example, the effect and also the use of natural resources that will benefit the industry in terms of bio-based material from the ocean need to also be looked at. We need a blue economy. Okay, education in Nigeria is I think there is a good systems. I mean, of education throughout. There are many changes over the years from this, from A level to 6334, for example, and when you look at the whole process and the program, which is done mostly like every other country, more or less like a top-down program whereby they look at the goal of the country to come up with policies, and then the programs are deduced from this, and from there you have the curriculum for the program. Now, these are all good, and the system is there, but the system needs to be more human. For example, to provide the tools that the kids need all the time. This is very important for the student to be able to concentrate on the studies. Nigerian and generally African students study in a very hard way, all the way, and they always excel somehow in the world. And this is all good, but the deficiency I have seen, because I used to be visiting professor at Akwa Ibom State University, and I have seen less research being done in the university. Now, research matters a lot, and the research are being done in some other places, but they are not taken very, very serious. Why research matter? Because most of the new things are with age. Okay, beside the curriculum, they are coming from the discovery, the research. So this is very important to take serious in our academic system, and research also require to be funded. But the mentality that, okay, there is no need to put money in research, okay, but to rather put money in something that is already working is not the way to be a leader in academic and technology in the world. Now, it is this education system, whether in terms of practical or in terms of soft skill, Okay, this is what will always determine the future of our country. For another example, I have seen in many places in our country, the maintenance culture is very poor, and uh, maybe this needs to be quickly incorporated into education. And um, uh, when new system, for example, the blue economy ministry that was a maritime that was just started coming, and then new program need to kick in as well, and they need to be implemented differently. Okay, so this is one thing. The other thing is in many of our villages, uh, a large percentage of our youth go for handicraft, and in this, some part of education is missing in terms of theory, how to implement what they learn. For example, they cannot do breakdown of their work and all of this. So we need to do more about this. And thirdly, is knowledge and education is not about, and also research is not about doing and put it in the shelf. Okay, we need to look at the applications, okay, to who is going to be beneficial. We cannot simply do research or teach and put everything in the shelf. We must look at how it's going to be continuously be beneficial or support the growing of the person and the system. Because eventually we need to look at how, for example, our data can be translated to products and services that the society are looking for. So this is something that we need to look at, and also we also need to look at how part of the tax that the working class are paying are used to fund our research. Okay, and yes, we need investment, but the moment we are able to do this also, we are able to show that we are doing something serious. Okay, this will also help to accelerate investment. And lastly, the education system mostly like a foundation system, and it depends on the person what you want to build on it. And meaning, even if the system provide everything, we also need to incorporate the programs that will help the student to be able to develop what they learn, and also to be able to be human about what they learn, because education is not only about knowing mathematics, but it's also about how to make the right decision about what is correct and what is wrong, and when to do the right things, and when to be compassionate about our environment, about our friends, about our family, about other people that needs another hand. The end of Millennium Development Goal. Okay, and then there was Sustainable Development and then later there was Millennium Development Goal, and now the SDG really it was brilliant because it brings it narrowed development into 17 goals with relevant targets for different goals, and especially related to societal problems. And the brilliant thing about SDG is it put them in a graphic format for a layman to be able to have some understanding about what the goals are about. From recent stories about SDG, the world is fighting whether they can be met. Eventually, I think maybe in some cases they are implemented in a fragmented method whereby things are done, development were done differently, and now this is a lot of work to collect all of these fragments and analyze them whether they fit. It's supposed to be a system-based to be implemented with system-based approach, whereby all the risk within the system, the data are collected and they are ranked, and the priority are identified that, okay, in this year we do this, in this year we do this, in this year we do this. But it was done in a different, fragmented way, and now everybody is fighting whether it's working. And the recent ranking for Nigeria is 160 for SDG index, and again most African countries score very poor, and you can also see this in daily life in African villages, roads. So we have a lot of work to do now, and eventually it is good. We still have a few years now. I think a program like Blue Economy is an integrated system. This kind of system will provide the opportunity for institutions to assess what is working and what is not working. And within the framework of SDG, they will be able to have possibility to get the priority areas to focus on to meet the SDG. Now, this is good for blue economy, and it's also good for maybe green, land-based, or even so. There are groups, and now the SDG 14, for example, is the one that relates the ocean, that is related to the ocean, and SDG 6 is also related to water. Now, maybe another possibility is also bridging the SDG, because they are also interconnected, and in the process of bridging, we can also see the link, if they are probably be bridged or they are broken, and from this gap, possibly it can also help to identify targets that are not met, or targets that and to rank them, and to use the resources that are being the cake resources is being depleted every year, to use them on the most immediately needed areas. Well, I think my philosophy about life is for all of us to understand why we live. There must be a purpose for us to be living, and one reason is to make ourselves happy and to make other people happy, because by making other people happy, we get the best of happiness as well. I believe in this, and I also believe in the fact that just the way our everything is conserved in our planet, everything in life, in what we're doing, is also conserved. There is no leak, so we have to philosophically we have to be like this, to think this way, and this has always been very helpful for me. And another aspect philosophically is this will also be a way to build credibility within ourselves by implementing this kind of philosophy. Now, when I was growing up, I took a course in marine engineering because I think I wanted to see the world, and I dreamed. But I have seen dream coming true, yes. And then I also thought that people have been, going places by water from generations, from the beginning of human as well. And now, in between this, I read a lot. When I was growing up, I read everything until I get to a point whereby I just stopped reading and I started writing. And this writing also helped me a lot, because it tells a lot about more or less recording your life, how you spend your time. Okay, so these are things that are very helpful and about my success. And the other thing is, yes, I found myself in different society from different parts of the world throughout my career, and I think it's always important to have understanding with different culture, to respect different culture, and also to accept the good things and the good people in different culture, because I believe that this is the meaning of civilization, and to be open to know each other, and also to be open to accept those who are good among us, no matter where they come from. And this is what I believe every day. And when I enter new society, I hardly see discrimination, and I deal with discrimination as case by case. I cannot generalize, so it's case by case, and also it's mood based. So because of this, I'm able to have a lot of patience dealing with different characters, different people, different society, and this has helped me. And then when I started working in the university, because of my background, I like to work with industries. I like to collaborate with industries because I think everybody input in a matter is always very, very important to reduce the mistake. And this collaborative approach to doing things has also helped me a lot. And I am still doing that today. And above all, I am a very, very nature lover. And I think today, most of us should learn more from nature, because today now I work more on nature-based technology and how to incorporate nature into building things. And this is something else that I think will help me again.
Thank you. Well, you already know my name is Steve Omojiafor, and my middle name is Banite. That was the name that my parents gave me at birth, because it was like they regarded themselves as not Lagosians. It is Providence that brought them into Lagos, and I then happened to be born here at Odo Street in Obalende. And in fact, we didn't go to Mercy Hospital then. There was a little home along Odo Street run by a very experienced nurse, Mama Nurse, that's what we, So I was born in that little place, and grew up from there. Like I said, my middle name is Bamidilim. My parents probably said, well, we have had you here, but this is not home. As at that time, you will go home with us. No problem. So I started off at St. Matthias Catholic Primary School on Louis Street. And I was in St. Matthias from 1953 till 1960, when we finished with our primary school leaving certificate. Then from there, an extra year at Holy Cross School. We did that extra, they call it prep class. Prepare yourself to go to the secondary school. And from Holy Cross, for 1 year, I moved on to St. Gregory's College, Lagos. Now, growing up in Lagos was one of the best things that happened to us then. Life was good, life was easy, life was safe, life was like everything that a young man could aspire to. We went to school with scholars bus, which was virtually provided for free. When scholars bus was not available, it was fun walking from Obalende, firstly to St. Matthias, and then from there to St. Gregory's College. Life was good, life was safe. You could go out any time of the day. You could play from house to house. Parents knew each other very well. And so, in fact, when you were late somewhere on your street or in your neighborhood, you could sleep there because they would send a message to your home that Dele is here, so don't bother. The next morning you wake up, have your bath, have breakfast, return to your home. There was this community life that we all lived. Parents could discipline children of their friends, okay? Not like these days, you dare not touch any other child. The parents will come and, do a battle with you that I didn't send my child to you to be flogged or to be beaten. So it was a very beautiful life. So went to St. Matthias, went to St. Gregory's College, and then from there to University of Lagos. We were brothers keepers. School was fun. Teachers were all there just to teach you. There was no messing around. There weren't any bad habits that people could be developing along the line, So that was my life growing up. So we were all walking through Banite to Rafiu to Campus Square to Kumbo, Okekpopo, So we were children of the neighborhood. We were children of the area. So I'm never ashamed to say I'm an area boy in Rafiu. Today it has become a taboo, but then we were proud of our origin. We were proud of our place of birth, and we were proud growing up in the neighborhood. So today, still believe me, I get up on some Fridays, I just go to Rafiu, I stay with the guys. Okay, not all of us were fortunate enough to go through the system. Okay, so those who, in quote, we left behind, we still, a lot of the time, we still talk to them, we still relate to them when there are problems that we could fix. We help out. Because, it wasn't their fortune to be able to have gone. I know some dropped out, on their own volition. But generally, we all like the idea of going to school, but some couldn't make it. But we still relate to them. We are still friends. So I'm not surprised I leave Holy Cross Cathedral and I just hear people call me my names. And I know these people are those who knew me when we were growing up. Let me start by saying that even at secondary school, I read a lot. I was interested in the newspapers. And a lot of the time, I read something, there was always this beautiful column of letters to the editor. So anything that I read that I liked, I sit down, 2-3 paragraphs letter to the editor to compliment what they've done, to criticize what I didn't like, and these things were published. And I liked it, okay? You open the papers and you just see, contributed by Steve Omojiafor, or some will call me Bamidele Omojiafor. So that kept me getting interested in the media. So when I left secondary school, after higher school, I would just pay a visit to Daily Times, which was in Tinubu, Kakawa Street. I just pay a visit there, and I got talking to people. They would take me to the newsroom, they would just show me how newspapers are produced and all that. That ignited my interest. So when I left higher school, mass communication was what occurred to me. I know that my uncle, you are not doing accountancy, you are not doing engineering, you're not doing medicine, you want to go and become a newspaper boy. I said, yes, this is where my interests lie. So I got admitted to Lagos University and studied mass communication there. And while I was there, I developed a column in Lagos Weekend of those days. Every Friday I was contributing, and I was writing under the name of Akinbodilon. Now, Akinbodilon itself is a name that I picked up in a drama group, because we had a drama group that we produced all kinds of little plays here and there at J.K. Randall Hall, you know. So one of the roles I played was Akinbodilon. So when I started writing my columns in Daily Times and Lagos Weekend, I just used that pen name, Akinbodilon. You know. So I did the program and I started writing for Daily Times campus news, things that happened during elections, battle between the male and female, problems with the tutors and everything. So it became a very regular program. In fact, I inherited the program from late Ladipo you know, who was my boss in the Daily Times. So I did that program for 3 years, became very popular. It got to a point, Vice Chancellor would call me to say, there's a little thing going on in the university. I hope you have covered it for your paper. And I said, I'm not even employed there, I'm just writing, you know. So I left University of Lagos, had all kinds of jobs that one could do, but I headed for Daily Times because I just had developed a path for myself, and that is journalism, okay? So while in the Daily Times, worked with the Lagos Weekend, went to Daily Times proper and worked there. I was a columnist, I was a sub-editor, and also a reporter. Combined everything. So that was where my interest grew, and it was very painful when I had to leave the Daily Times organization. And what did I go to? Linters, advertising. When I walked into Linters, and I said to the chairman managing director, and I said, I want a job. I said, just like that? I said, yes, sir. You know, then it was easy to communicate with people. We're not too many, so they listen to you. So he said, what are you doing now? I said, I'm a sub-editor at the Daily Times. So why are you coming to advertising? I want to broaden my space. I want to broaden my experiences. It took about 3 months, and I got a job in Linters. And I remember Alhaji Babatunde Joseph, when I was going to leave, said, look, Steve, where are you going? I said, I'm going to Linters. I said, well, we do the same thing. They package programs commercially. Here we do our papers and we go sell, you know. So I said, okay, sir, let me just go gather some experience at Linters. And Linters and Daily Times were just 5 minutes walk from each other. And I said, sir, if the editor needs me for anything, trust me, I will spend my time and money, do write-ups for Daily Times. So I was like working in advertising and still writing for the Daily Times, you know. So that was my life. From Linters, we set up our own company known as Roosevelt Advertising Limited. And Roosevelt, was formed by 3 partners, you know, two friends of mine. 3 of us were at Lagos University at the same mass comm department. So we came out, and I left Daily Times to set up Roosevelt. One of my partners left Cadbury to join us, and Akodusi left Admark, another advertising company. So 3 of us came together and we set up Roosevelt. we call ourselves second generation agencies, because before then we were the Ogilvy, the Linters, Grant Advertising, and so on. So we set up a small shop in Surulere, and it grew beyond our own imaginations. From Roosevelt, we set up a second line agency called McCann, STB McCann. Got affiliated to a company in America, McCann Erickson. So that was how it all went on. Now, I didn't do banking and I didn't work as a banker. The interesting story is that one day, while still at Roosevelt, no, STB McCann then, I got a phone call from somebody I've never met before. And I picked up the call. He said, my name is ABC, blah, blah, blah. And he said, the managing director of Zenith Bank wants to talk to me. So I said, no, there's no problem. I know I'm not owing any bank and all that. He said, no. He just wants to talk to you. So I picked up, he picked up the line and said, my name is this. And I said, my name is this. He said, can we meet? So I said, no problem. He said, no. So we agreed to meet. And it got to be that he wanted to appoint a couple of directors for the bank before they went public. And what I said to him was, I'm not a banker. I didn't study finance or economics. He said, no. What I want from you is your name and your integrity. Nothing beyond that. So that was the beginning of the story. So I got onto the board, and I learned a lot. You know, I'm somebody who doesn't get to a place and I want to show them what I know or what I don't know. You could make a fool of yourself sometimes. So for me, like the first 6 months or 1 year was just go to the meeting, listen to them, know where they are coming from, know what the focus is, and know what the expectations are. So I picked it up from there, and gradually I got into the system. Of course, naturally, buy some books on banking, finance, just read, you know, so at least you know how the banks are operating. I've always been a customer of the banks in a very small scale, and all I did was follow the banking trend. You know, there weren't too many banks in Nigeria at that point in time, but I followed through, and that was it. I got onto the board, and somewhere along the line, there was a policy of the central bank. The managing director had to step aside, so to say. The chairman had overspent some time regulated by the CBN, and they approached me and said, you are going to become, at the board, you're going to become the chairman of the board. I said, me? And they said, yes. I've met a lot of people here, so why me?
My name is Dr. Rafiu or Ladipo.
My name is Baba Jalal Repega.
I'm Reverend Juliet Banite.
I'm Godi Odidi.
My name is Professor Oladokun Suleikan.
Souq News is on the ground, loading.
Very enlightening, very educative, and entertaining.
Thank you to Souq News.
So I'm happy that Souq TV has come into existence.
I'm happy to be here in the Souq News.
I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and keep watching news that makes sense.
As Browning said, one's extension of one's reach should not exceed one's grasp, or what is heaven for. And I think Souq News is doing that.
Africa needs a voice of truth, and Souq News has become one of them. And get ready, get ready, get ready.
And keep watching.
Keep watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News. It's a place to be.
Keep watching